Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Heads up, if you're catching a flight in the coming days, air travel could get messier this weekend. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Carroll in for Maya Trabulsi. The Trump administration says the shutdown will force them to reduce air traffic around the country, including here at San Diego International Airport. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says starting tomorrow, air traffic will be cut by 10% at 40 U.S. airports. As essential workers, air traffic controllers are required to be on the job. They are set to miss their second paycheck of the shutdown next week.
These are real people dealing with real life circumstances, and when you don't pay somebody for 37 days and say, hey, just keep showing up and do your best, people are going to have issues, and they're mounting daily.
As a traveler, it's very inconvenient for me, but I mean, if you're not paying people right, I completely understand.
Air travelers are already seeing delays mount. Some airlines are now waiving flight change fees ahead of possible disruptions. And as we mentioned, San Diego International is one of 40 major airports that will see their air traffic reduced by tomorrow. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer checked out the situation at the airport today, and he talked with a local aviation expert about what might be coming.
Things at San Diego International Airport flowed pretty smoothly this morning.
Didn't know really anything about the FAA deciding to cut back on 10% of the flights. That's kind of going to be detrimental, I'll be honest. I'm a bit worried now.
Worried because he's supposed to fly back to Virginia State University on Sunday. And tomorrow, the FAA plans to cut airport traffic by up to 10% at 40 high-traffic markets across the U.S.
I pray that this ends for more than just my own personal inconvenience. Like I was saying, there's so many people that are going through so many more hard times than I can compare to, oh, I might miss a test. You know, there are people who are missing out on getting paid.
The FAA says the flight reductions are to relieve pressure on air traffic controllers. They've been working without pay during the government shutdown and have been increasingly calling off work.
Everyone's job has stress. And if you were to go this long with an unknown future, especially about your pay, you would experience the same thing.
Kevin Carpe is a former air traffic controller who's been through past government shutdowns. He says this is an unprecedented announcement from the FAA and to expect flight delays and cancellations across the U.S.
If the shutdown continues, I think we'll see more than a 10% reduction in flights. I think that the FAA administrator will, again, be more proactive and try to reduce the stress on the national airspace system and the controllers.
San Diego International Airport is advising passengers to check their flight status before coming to the airport and to get there no less than 2 hours ahead of time. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
As we've been reporting, the shutdown has left tens of millions of Americans who rely on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program in limbo. Today, the Trump administration was ordered to pay the full SNAP benefits for November. A federal judge ordered the Department of Agriculture to tap into a contingency fund to make full payments to the states by tomorrow. The judge says the administration did not act quickly enough to release the funds. San Diegans have not yet received federal food assistance this month as the government shutdown hits day 37. KPBS reporter Katie Hyson visited one of the nearly 400,000 locals strategizing to make it through November.
Normally, Maria Hernandez gets $130 a month in grocery assistance. Now she's expecting about $60, if anything.
I got nervous, I got scared, I got worried, like, how are we gonna eat?
She started swapping fresh food for cans and boxes.
Or spaghettis, stuff like, stuff that's not really that good for you, but, it's something that's gonna fill your stomach.
She has help. Churches, a Poway food bank where she says the line has suddenly stretched to the hundreds. Family, if she's really in a pinch. She worries about people who don't have all that support.
I feel bad for the other people, like the other mothers that are out there with a lot of children that aren't going to be able to feed their kids.
Thanksgiving is weeks away.
I'm kind of, I'm kind of like contemplating, like, am I going to be able to make my dish this year?
Normally, she'd make her signature potato casserole for her family and neighbors. Frozen hash browns, cream of chicken soup, sour cream, and crackers. But this year, she's not sure if she'll be able to afford the ingredients.
I'm hoping and praying the government opens up next month, because if not, next month comes around, what else are they going to get rid of? If it's CalFresh, what's next? Section 8? With people getting their disability, people getting welfare. What's next?
A county spokesperson says they're waiting on word from the state. Katie Heisen, KPBS News.
Many of the people who rely on federal food assistance are seniors. Coming up, how skipping meals or reduced food quality can put their health at risk.
I'm Ariella Scalise, and as we look ahead to tonight, temperatures back down into the upper 50s under a partly cloudy sky. We'll continue to see our warming trend here and a really pleasant weekend on the way, but tracking that next storm set for mid to late next week, that could bring us some more precipitation. It's all coming up.
The Colombian Navy tall ship ARC Gloria is in San Diego for the weekend, and it's open to the public. KPBS military reporter Andrew Dyer says the ship is part ambassador, part classroom.
Throngs of Colombian American families cheer and dance as the Gloria arrives at the Broadway Pier. Many in the crowd danced to music played from a ship loudspeaker. High above, Colombian naval cadets man the rigging to the top of two of the ship's 100-foot masts.
It's very difficult, and that's made for a specific purpose, because when you get up there, you tie the sails. You put them secure to the mast.
Midshipman Santiago Vargas is a crew member of the Gloria. Cadets comprise about a third of its 154-person crew. He says cadets learn to navigate and sail the Gloria as it tours foreign ports.
Also, is the best part of your naval career, because the people who are part of the crew, they are the best of the Navy. When you are really, really good in your work, in your job, and you are outstanding, they choose you to become part of the crew.
Members of the crew whistle back and forth as the ship is moored. Each crew member carries a bosun's pipe, which allows them to communicate.
And it can be heard from one side of the ship to the other, from the boat to the stern, no matter where.
Vargas says he's excited the ship receives such a warm welcome to San Diego. It's something Colombians do well.
So we call it the country of 1,000 rhythms. So we have 1,000 different ways to dance, and we dance for everything. Any special occasion is an excuse for you to get to dance. That's a Colombian thing. We dance a lot, and we are very proud of that. I'm very proud of my country in that way. We have really, really varied music and dancing.
The Gloria is open to the public at no cost through Sunday. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
The founder and owner of Mary's Donuts, Mary Hennessy, served fresh donuts and coffee to the Santee community for 4 decades. Hennessy passed away last month, but KPBS reporter Elaine Alfaro talked to her granddaughter, who says her legacy will live on.
Most mornings, you'll find Kelly Hennessy working the counter at Mary's Donuts, greeting customers and working the register.
Our donuts are good. They're always good. Consistency in a donut shop is key. You don't come back if someone does it wrong. You can only get one chance with some people. So being consistent, being reliable, the most important thing in this business.
But on a recent Monday, there was a sadness accompanying the usual bustle. Kelly wore a black sweater, and across the room on the shop's original counter was a collection of flowers, cards, candles, and photos, a makeshift memorial for the shop's owner and founder, Mary Hennessy. She passed away last month at the age of 94, but the spirit she brought to the shop is still felt.
She really brought a sense of community to this place, and just making eye contact, talking to people, really caring what they said. Those were all really important things to her.
The chopping you hear are apples being diced to make Mary's signature delicacy, the apple fritter. Mary's Donuts has been part of the Santee community for more than 40 years. Generations have grown up coming to the 24/7 donut shop.
Well, I think having a business that's open 24 hours a day and is able to serve the community is really important. To be reliable, to be there for people, it allows for, once again, you to be counted on.
Mary hadn't planned on being in the donut business, but one day in 1973, her late husband, Donald, handed her a help wanted ad from Winchell's. She worked at Winchell's for a decade. Then in 1984, she decided to go into business for herself. She took over a shop in Santee named Zona's and eventually renamed it Mary's.
So these are my grandparents, Donald Hennessy and Mary Hennessy. Looks like it's from 1997 at the old location. Her reading the paper, him reading the paper, having a cup of coffee. This is pretty typical, you know. They love to hang out, they love to see the people.
Mary wanted that casual hangout energy to be reflected in the space. Pictures of her clientele started appearing on the walls.
It was important to her to reflect the community. It wasn't about her. It was about these people in this place living life together.
Lainey McShay came by the shop to pick up donuts for her and her daughter that Monday.
I think it's honestly just been the owner's so wonderful, was so wonderful, and she was just did a lot of things for the community. There was a lot of sponsors and things like that.
10-year-old Milan Flores and 13-year-old London Flores also came in with their family for their favorite donuts.
How do you think the donut shop or Mary have impacted the community out here in Santee?
Pretty big, I think. Everybody loves Mary's. I think everyone will be a little sad still, but everyone will come and memorize her by getting her donuts still.
Not all that long ago, Kelly was London's age. Today, her childhood memories are sprinkled throughout the shop.
Third from the bottom in the middle here, that's me as a little kid. My grandmother owned it, and she kind of let me have the run of the place. She would set up special spots so I could decorate donuts, do all the things.
She didn't know it then, but this on-the-job training was preparing her for what was ahead. Now she feels a responsibility to honor her grandmother's legacy.
It's important for me to just keep doing what she's always done. She wanted us to be here. She wanted us to be reliable. She wanted to help people. She wanted to give people the opportunity to grow and do better. And I want to do the same thing.
A public celebration of life for Mary will be held at the Town Center Community Park East in Santee on November 15th. Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.
I'm Amna Navaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, the FAA prepares to cut flights at major airports because of the government shutdown. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
The longest government shutdown in history continues. More than 1 million federal employees haven't been paid. Food stamp benefits are on hold, and now the Trump administration says it will cut air traffic starting Friday if a deal is not reached. Correspondent Julia Benbrook is at the White House with details on where the situation stands now.
We still don't know what a solution to this government shutdown will look like. As of right now, the arguments remain the same. Republicans are calling for essentially an extension of current funding levels on a short-term basis, and Democrats are focusing in on health care, pushing to address enhanced Obamacare subsidies set to expire at the end of the year. According to sources, some Democrats have privately signaled they might be willing to support a stopgap bill to end the shutdown in exchange for a future vote on health care. Negotiations, though, are still ongoing, and others in the party are ramping up pressure to not yield without a real health care victory. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump continues to pressure Republicans to unilaterally end the lapse in funding by voting to end the Senate filibuster. That is not a likely solution, as GOP leadership have argued for keeping the filibuster in place, asserting that the 60-vote threshold is an important safeguard for them when Democrats are in the majority. Now, as this standstill continues, so does the impact. The FAA announced that it would reduce air traffic at a number of major airports on Friday unless the impasse ends before then. This comes as staffing shortages at terminals are already causing widespread delays, and thousands of air traffic controllers are set to miss their second full paycheck next week. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Nearly 100,000 seniors in San Diego County rely on CalFresh to help pay for groceries. That's California's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco says delays in benefits mean many older adults may be skipping meals and putting their health at risk.
Lunchtime at Serving Seniors in downtown San Diego is busier than usual. Staff say more people have been showing up since CalFresh benefits were delayed. Mary Eastwood is feeling the impact.
Especially when I went yesterday to Walmart and I was buying something and I show my EBT and this is nothing in there. It hurts, because it helps us a lot.
She's 86 and lives on a fixed income. She depends on CalFresh to buy food.
Without it, every penny counts.
She has high blood pressure and takes heart medication. Without reliable access to food, she's cutting back on meals.
Food is as important, if not more so, than the pills that we prescribe. Because one of the major issues that patients face as they get older is the risk of malnutrition.
Dr. Ian Neal is a geriatrician at UC San Diego Health. He says skipping meals can make chronic conditions worse.
Diabetes, heart disease, increased risk of gingivitis, which can then affect organs in our body. There have been some studies that have even shown that there's an increased risk of worsening cognitive impairment and dementia.
Neal says food also affects how some medication works.
There are some medications that we need to take with food or in an appropriate timing with food, and if we don't have access to that food, it can lead to serious harm.
He says the effects of poor nutrition can show up within weeks.
You can start to see a lot of loss of muscle in between the fingers on the backs of the hands as well as over the temples. They become more kind of sunken in.
Back at Serving Seniors, Eastwood says she's grateful for the free lunch. She worries how much longer she can stretch her budget.
Like all those people around here, I see them sleeping in the street all around here. I don't want to become like that.
Studies show that participation in SNAP is linked to fewer avoidable hospitalizations and nursing home stays. That's why Neal says delays in food assistance can mean more than an empty fridge. For some seniors, it can mean a real threat to their physical and mental health. Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
In another big headline for what's been a big political week, former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says she will not run for re-election. Pelosi will serve the remainder of her term. She was first elected to Congress in 1987, representing parts of San Francisco. Congresswoman Pelosi is now 85 years old. Pelosi was elected as House Speaker in 2007, becoming the first woman to hold the role. AI-generated content is everywhere, from deep fakes of celebrities to genre-shifting songs to viral videos of animals doing adorable things. But as the technology grows, so do the risks. Ivan Rodriguez reports on why a new app called Sora is raising concerns and how people can spot AI-generated videos.
Over the last few months, Sora, a video generator app from ChatGPT's parent company OpenAI, has become more sophisticated by the day.
It's like if you're scrolling TikTok, but all of the videos you see are AI generated. Nothing you see in Sora is real.
Caitlin Shadrawi, a CNET AI reporter, says these videos are easy to make and just take minutes. The trouble is, once these videos are shared outside the Sora app, it can sometimes be difficult to tell the difference between videos that are real and those that are fake.
It is harder than ever to tell if an image or video is AI generated. And Sora is partially why, but I wouldn't give them all the blame. Google has a number of AI tools, and there's been a number of creative AI companies that have been working in this field a long time.
Adding to the confusion, there isn't a foolproof method to spot AI-generated content, but Shadrawi says there are things to watch for.
The first thing I always recommend people look at are watermarks. This might seem kind of obvious, but that's for good reason. For example, the Sora videos have a little cloud icon that bounces around the edge of the screen.
While watermarks are one of the most obvious tells, if you want to dig deeper, you could also look at the content's metadata by using the Content Authenticity Initiative's verification tool to check a video, image, or document's metadata.
The most honest and best piece of advice I can give people is to just stay vigilant.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Let's check out those weather headlines because I think a lot of you will probably enjoy the warming trend here that's continuing, which leads into a pleasant weekend. So for those who have outdoor plans or travel, the weather should cooperate. But we already want to take ahead into next week as we're going to be watching areas of some widespread precipitation possible, especially later next week. So timing slowing down a little bit. Most of that precip should come in a little bit later through next week. Tonight should be a dry night as temperatures fall back down into the 50s for Oceanside, lower 50s, I should say, upper 50s in San Diego and Chula Vista. You're down to 58. Borrego Springs 55 and a comfortable 49 overnight into Mount Laguna. Look at all this warmth here that starts to move back on in across parts of Southern California. We're talking about that warm air that continues with temperatures running above the historical average, and we'll watch that trend continue to increase. So 86 for Borrego Springs, 60 in Mount Laguna. San Diego still a comfortable 72, as is Chula Vista, and Oceanside some clouds at 73 degrees. The warm air continues as we head into the weekend. Remember, we were talking about a pleasant weekend ahead, but here's those changes as we head into mid and late next week. The next Pacific storm here much further south than some of the previous storms that we've been tracking, so that could bring us some rain into the end of next week. Let's take a look here as we go into the 5-day forecast for the coast. Here's that warming trend with the warmest weather Sunday into Monday. Monday back around 78 degrees before temperatures drop back on Tuesday into the lower 70s. Same is true further inland here where we'll be building with the 80s. Sunday into Monday, we're talking about some pretty hot temperatures back into the mid 80s, but dropping back on Tuesday. As for the mountains, we say pretty consistent here. We'll be around 60 degrees or so over the next 5 days. But for the deserts, we're going to see some heat build back on through before some lowering temperatures by Tuesday. For KPBS News, I'm Ariella Scalise.
A former Padres player is now the team's new manager. Craig Stammen is best known as a relief pitcher who played for 13 seasons, most of them in San Diego. He retired in 2023 and was working in a behind-the-scenes role in the Padres front office. But in recent days, Stammen emerged as a finalist for the job. A formal introduction and press conference is scheduled for Monday at Petco Park. Thursday, the San Diego Asian Film Festival kicks off at La Paloma Theater in Encinitas with the heist film Forge. KPBS cinema junkie Beth Accomando previews some of the smaller films that may fly under the radar at the 10-day event.
This year, the San Diego Asian Film Festival will showcase 150 films from 30 countries. And for the first time, it'll kick off in North County, says artistic director Brian Hu.
Yeah, tonight we are going to have our opening night film at the La Paloma Theater in Encinitas. It's a venue that we love, that is historic, one of the few single-screen theaters left in San Diego. It's a way for us to show that our festival is different than watching a film on Netflix. It's an event. It's just experiential. It's collective.
And there's no better way to celebrate that collective experience than with the restored Bollywood classic, Andes Apna Apna.
Yes, you can maybe watch them on streaming one day, but you can't replicate that energy you get from that theatrical experience, especially for these sort of rowdy movies that don't take themselves too seriously, but that have just this endless feeling of fun and this unabashed commitment to having fun.
A very different kind of communal experience comes with the work of Filipino filmmaker Lav Diaz. This year, he delivers a historical epic called Magellan that takes him into new territory.
The elements of it that are new for him, it's a period film, but it also brings to the fore the perspective of the quote-unquote native people. Lav Diaz is interested in the fact that Magellan, this is not really a spoiler, but he dies in the Philippines. So he's interested in the way that the Philippines has a kind of symbolism in terms of Western globalization.
At the opposite end of the spectrum is the festival's most oddly titled film, Julian Castronovo's debut, or Objects of the Field of Debris, as currently catalogued.
There are many documents and recordings which testify to this tale, but at certain points, nonetheless, our trail of clues becomes lost, as if aimlessly winding itself through a dense fog which seemingly no amount of scrutiny or investigation might dispel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a millennial noir made on a desktop. So it's freed of like having to do all the noir things like the black and white and the shadows, like all the things that just are all very become sort of the stereotype of noir. Instead, he's like focusing on some of the essence of just the weirdness of society and the alienation, and cracking this mystery.
And finally, there's a supernatural tale that takes us in a very unexpected direction.
And there's a film from Thailand called A Useful Ghost about this person who comes back as a ghost but takes the form of a vacuum cleaner. So it's a ghost film, but it's also a hilarious comedy, and it's the kind of thing that is both artful and strange, but also exciting enough to be Thailand's submission for the Oscars.
No matter what you're looking for, you can find it at the San Diego Asian Film Festival. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. The season finale of the KPBS podcast, The Finest, is out now. Tomorrow on Roundtable, hear from the producers about their favorite moments and what's in store for next season. Of course, you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. I'm John Carroll. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.